Issue 175. We start out with Vector playing video games, as Knuckles expresses concern that they should go looking for Espio, with Julie saying that Espio would be mad at them if they did go looking for him because he'd feel insulted. Also, she randomly has blue hair at the top of her head now, which is weird. Rouge says manipulatively that she won't doubt a Guardian's intuition, and she and him could go look for Espio, getting Julie all jealous. Then Sally and Sonic talk about how much better the heroes' this whole situation is than it was in, say, the beginning of the comic. Obviously going for some irony since we know Eggman's planning something big. As Sonic wonders if Tails is keeping something from him, as if it isn't bad enough that he did it before, keeping Fiona's secret. Tails asks Nicole if she's alright because she's running slow, and Nicole decides to run a diagnostic believing she's fine somehow. After Tails says that's a good idea because Snively might have sabotaged her before leaving, I guess just to be a dick, Rotor points out that it's been a rough couple of weeks for him, and says that Tails and Sonic have been kind of at odds after Fiona and Tommy's whole thing. After? You'd think that would have been completely resolved. He's not dating Fiona anymore. And if Sonic did kind of betray him by doing that, then Tails evened it out because he kind of betrayed Sonic by not telling him Fiona was cheating on him the minute he found out. So they're even. Tails briefly shows insecurity, and then Nicole warns them that the system's compromised and they're under attack. And right away the rooftop of the base gets destroyed by a mecha piloted by Snively. If only they had just locked Snively up in prison or worse. Then he could have never gone back to Eggman and never done any of this. Rotor pushes Tails out of the way of some falling boulders from the roof's destruction, and it looks like a bunch of heroes, including Julie and him, were vaporized, but obviously that's not going to be true, and they have to have been teleported, like with the egg grapes lasers. Bunny is ordered by Sally to get Snively outside to get him away from the base, and as some other friends, aside from Mighty and Sonic, get seemingly vaporized, Antoine, who's one of them, says, "Let her go, monster!" What's with the quotation mark before L? Mighty attacks Snively in a rage for what he did to Ray, his big brother protectiveness kicking in, which I really like. It doesn't show up enough. And Snively then leaves an explosion behind, saying that he was only the distraction, as I wonder why the hell he didn't even try to supposedly vaporize Sonic, and instead went for everyone but the most competent one. With Amy, Tails, Sonic, and Knuckles all fine, I guess because only the game characters are allowed that kind of luck, Tails panics that Eggman must be attacking Knothole. Sonic shows up too late. Seeing a burning knothole, the Lake of Rings being destroyed, I guess that means the Chow Garden was destroyed too. Uncle Chuck's diner and his house is gone, and he hopes that Elias at least got everyone to the castle in time. Then the castle explodes. Wow, they're really trying to destroy everything about the setting of the original comic, but I'm sure it'll all get rebuilt and everything will be fine, but still. Eggman corrects Sonic that everyone he loves is merely captured, teleported away like Mammoth Mogul and his crowd was, because Eggman is an idiot who doesn't want to win. Well, the egg grapes they were transported to will be a death trap, but he's really prolonging it like a James Bond villain and just begging them to be saved. After Sonic almost gets hit by some missiles, Eggman says trying to break Sonic through talking that he's surprised he retains his confidence after so many failures, like the deaths of Tommy and Sir Connery. He also reminds Sonic that it wasn't him who got to de-robotize his family. That's right, some other people stole that victory on him. And his father is still a robot. He then taunts Sonic about how unlucky he's been with the girls, surprising for someone like Sonic. Almost as if it was completely forced on him by the writers because they're obsessed with shipping him with only Sally. Not to mention Sally's never dated anyone aside from him after dating him. Eggman then amusingly points out how lame Sonic's shut up comeback was in response to all that. He's a real teenager. Eggman then reminds Sonic that the world fell to him so quickly that he was left with nothing to do, and he just allows the Freedom Fighters to exist and entertain himself. Now that explains why he just teleported them to his egg grapes death trap so easily. Sonic calls him a liar, and Eggman says that the King's attempt to rally support against him had failed because the rest of the world knows Eggman controls them. That makes sense. I mean, like they're too scared of Eggman to bother. He tells Sonic that they knew he was powerless. Not really. He could have killed Eggman a long time ago with the super speed attacks alone. He just holds back. That's what gets him. After Sonic gets hit by a ball and chain, he's merely stunned because I guess he had some protective rings he collected off screen, and then gets hit by it again, while told that Eggman's battlesuit is specifically designed to match and outclass his speed and strength. Saying match was redundant then. I like that Eggman is actually written to point out why Sonic can take so much punishment. It's because of all the rings he's collected, absorbed into his aura. And Eggman looks on the bright side that this means he gets to keep toying with him for longer. He taunts Sonic that he's reached his limit, and in a way he was right, but not the way he expected, as Sonic runs off enraged, and Eggman panics, asking Snively to track Sonic via the Egg Spy satellites. Snively, finally back to wearing green, points out that Sonic's moving a lot faster than he should be. Unless he went super, I'm calling Deus Ex Machina. Because of that ridiculousness, Sonic is already on the East Coast. He looks absolutely demented running from an ocean, saying, "I've got your limit right here!" This is pretty awesome. Then Sonic rams into the shield of Eggman's battlesuit, as I wonder what the point was of him running to the East Coast, unless he ran away to get some Super Emeralds for that super speed. And even then, he should have just come right back here. Sonic does a lot of stuttering from all the stress he's under, which proves his normal dialogue of bravado is just an act, bragging to hide how stressed out he really is. I really love seeing Sonic like this for once. It's refreshing, and shows some depth to him that he can actually be pushed to his limit just like any other person. Somehow, Eggman is just fine, coming out of the dust and complaining that Sonic just dented his shield. I expected that since he blocked the attack with the shield. That must be one well-made shield to withstand the kind of speed he wasn't even expecting to get. That was convenient. He attacks Sonic a lot and grabs him in his clutches with his battlesuit, telling him that he's going to use everyone he loves as fuel for his ghost town of a city just to spite him. And he's going to let Sonic live and run around the world, failing to start another freedom fighter group just to be sadistic. After he briefly looks defeated, Tails shows up. They put their arms around each other affectionately as he says that Eggman's won, and Sonic gets up saying that he's not giving up. He plans to get his remaining friends and him over to Eggman's place for a last-second rescue. And that's the issue. This issue was written by Ian Flynn. It was pretty dark, but it's fine because it didn't come out of nowhere, since there was a lot of foreshadowing that Eggman had this big plan against Knothole, to the point where Snively told Hope to leave it for her own good, and SBO got captured learning about it. If it had come out of nowhere, it would have been a lot more annoying. This is easily the most menacing Eggman's ever been. I felt pretty sorry for Sonic by the end of it, as Eggman just went on and on with his breaking speech to him and curb stomped him with his battlesuit. Wait, why did Sonic just run around its great tornado that would lift it up and render it helpless? Aside from shooting lasers, of course. There were at least some strategies he could have tried. He could have used his ridiculous intangibility power to get inside the battlesuit and attack Eggman himself. I mean, if they're not going to use that power anymore because it's bullshit, then at least explain that he lost it. It's just like how they don't explain why they don't use rings to grant wishes. They're just ignoring the elephant in the room. They should either explain that the rings that granted wishes were actually super powerful, or explain that you can't use them to grant wishes anymore because of something. The biggest problem with the story is the random Deus Ex Machina, how Sonic was moving much faster than he ever did before just because he's mad, without any kind of chaos symbol to justify it. And ended up being totally pointless of going to the East Coast for no reason, which he should have been able to go to that fast anyway to the speed sound running. Not sure why it's made such a big deal out of. Although it did serve a literary purpose, as it showed how Sonic was so enraged and stressed out by Knothole City's destruction, they ran all around the world pointlessly and then rammed into Eggman's shield, stuttering while doing his usual gloating to show something was very off. I love seeing him actually hit realistic limits like that. It's refreshing, relatable, humanizes him as a character. You'd never see something like this in the games. But again, all of that served to nothing and just had Eggman be fine, only happening to make Eggman look a little bit more invincible. It really is a Wham story, with the only saving grace I'll blink it is being that Eggman merely captured everyone to put them in a slow-acting death trap. He let his sadism be his downfall because it could have easily just captured Sonic instead, or used actual lasers.